Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Sorry, we are a few minutes late. Let's start with 2.1. The meeting is called to order at 7:07. Okay. And I just want to put forth a wonderfully warm welcome to Dr. Jeanette Jackson, as this is her very first meeting as our interim chancellor, and in the past several weeks has already demonstrated incredible leadership, acumen, diligence, and just team building ability. And I just wanted to just warmly welcome you once again and to shout that out. And Interim Chancellor Jackson, if you could please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance once the flag is up, that would be fantastic.
And I will stand as protocol in the military whenever we do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, Madam Board Clerk, roll call, please.
Student Trustee Uroni. She's not in attendance. Trustee Withrow.
Here.
Trustee Jenkins.
Here.
Trustee Handy. Is she not on the call? Trustee Handy, are you there? Not yet. Trustee Delphine Polk.
Here.
Trustee Bonilla.
Here.
Trustee Gonzalez Ewan.
I'm right here.
Trustee Napolia Bellaris.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Let's move on to 2.4. And as per usual, we are going to start off with reading the affirmation of the Statement of Cooperation to create the boundaries and framework for our meeting tonight and at every meeting. We, the Peralta Community College District Board of Trustees, commit to the following in our efforts to help students reach their educational goals. Number one, we agree to listen and seek to understand others and opposing viewpoints with the expectation of good intentions and a deep commitment to the district students. Number two, we commit to being prepared for each meeting and to work within our established communication protocols when we seek additional information. Members will review the agenda in advance of each meeting and adhere to Board Policy 2340 for adding items to the agenda. Number three, we as a board have reviewed the board's code of ethics and commit to reviewing it annually at our organizational meeting to remind ourselves of the behavior we are to exhibit and the guidelines we are to follow in our role. Four, if the code of ethics is violated, we commit to follow the process stated in the code and will first address concerns informally to settle disagreements one-on-one between and among members before moving to the formal process. Number five, we agree that from time to time, the chair, myself, will remind members of appropriate behavior and may call for a recess or redirect members if they stray away from the topic of discussion. Number six, we collectively recognize that it is within the duties and authority of the chair to render decisions or take actions to keep our meetings on track in adherence to board policy. And number seven, we, the board, will strive to fulfill the vision we established for ourselves. And number eight, we, the board, will model the behavior we want others to exhibit. 2.5, report of action taken in closed session. Vice President Gonzalez Yuen, do we have a closed session readout?
We do. Thank you very much, Madam President. At tonight's closed session, the board voted on the following items. Under public employee appointment, we voted on the recommendation to appoint Natalie Rodriguez as the Director of Student Activities and Campus Life at the College of Alameda at an annual salary of $103,759, effective April 28, 2021 through June 30, 2023. This position reports to the Vice President of Student Services. Congratulations, Ms. Rodriguez. We voted, let's see, that was a 7-0 vote, as were all of these votes. So 7-0 with no abstentions, no absences, and all of these were on a motion by Trustee Jenkins and seconded by Bill Withrow. So we also voted to appoint Garth Quiasian as the Vice President of Administrative Services at Merritt College at an annual salary of $161,402, effective May 10, 2021 through June 30, 2023. And that position also reports to the college president at Merritt College. We also voted on the appointment of Immaculate Adesida as the Director of Human Resources, the district office, an annual salary of $144,109, effective May 17, 2021 through June 30, 2023. That position reports to the Vice Chancellor of Human Resources and Employee Relations. The 7 aye votes were Withrow, Jenkins, Handy, Delphine Polk, Bonilla, myself, Gonzalez Yuan, and Natalie Bellary. And that is our closed session readout for tonight, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Gonzalez Yuan, and welcome to our new associates. Let's proceed to the approval of the agenda 2.6. I need a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Gonzalez Yuan. Who was my second?
Withrow.
Withrow. Thank you, Trustee Withrow. Discussion, roll call, please.
Trustee Uroni or Student Trustee Uroni? No. Trustee Withrow.
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins.
Yes.
Trustee Handy.
Yes.
Trustee Delphine Polk.
Yes.
Trustee Bonilla.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez Yuan.
Yes.
Trustee Napolia Bellaris.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. 2.7, approval of the minutes. Can I have a motion for that, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Trustee Withrow. Second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Trustee Jenkins. Roll call, please.
I'm sorry, the second was Nikki Gonzalez Yuan, correct? Or was it Jenkins?
No, I apologize.
I thought it was VP Yuan.
It could be Jenkins. That's fine. We both said it. It was sort of a tie.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Withrow.
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins.
Yes.
Trustee Handy.
Yes.
Trustee Delphine Polk.
Yes.
Trustee Bonilla.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez Yuan.
Yes.
Trustee Napolia Bellaris.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Let's move on to 2.8, our Associated Student Government Reports. Do we have any student leaders in the room? I hope so.
We do.
Great.
I will allow, I'm going to have Liam Zhu. I'm going to move him over. Okay.
All right. Good evening, President Reese, members of the board, Chancellor Jackson, and guests. As reported last meeting, the CC2 Elected Office Workshop, which was sponsored by the AAUW of Berkeley, saw the BCC student ambassadors hosting a panel of assembly members and local council members to share their career path and experience. The ASBCC elections are also completed, and the current team is discussing this week to potentially form a temporary transition committee with aims to onboard the incoming administration for next academic year. On the front of student activities, 3 BCC clubs, namely Phi Beta Lambda, Electronics and Engineering, and Coders League, are teaming up to host the Road to Internship series, which will span all of next week. I will feature a resume and cover letter workshop on Monday, one for LinkedIn on Friday, and an interview workshop on Saturday. Check out the BCC website in the coming days for more information on this. There's also a team of BCC staff and students who are organizing some projects for the May AAPI Heritage Month. We'll host a panel of AAPI leaders in our Peralta community, not only aiming to stop AAPI hate, but also to highlight the cultural diversity within the AAPI community. The event will take place on May 12th at College Hour. There will also be some Zoom virtual backgrounds that everyone can use to rep the effort. So if you're interested, please contact my email at president.asbcc@gmail.com and we'll send information and materials in May. That will conclude my report.
Thank you, Liam. Do we have another student leader in the room? Sasha?
We have Lauren Wallace.
Great. Hi, Lauren.
Hello. Good evening, Madam President and Chancellor and members of the board. My name is Lauren Wallace and I'm a senator for College of Alameda. We had our COVID Couldn't Keep Us Down talent show. We wanted to say thank you to everyone who was able to join us. We had a lot of fun. We will be hosting an event entitled Cinco de Mayo. It's not Independence Day on May 5th from 12 to 1 p.m. We will be releasing the flyer this week, and we have confirmed our guest speaker as COA's very own Professor Sansari. Senator Merritt and I attended the Associated Students training, where we were able to connect with other senators around the Peralta community and figure out why we joined our student government. While listening to others talk, I realized why I had decided to join. It felt like a calling because it seemed like there was no one else willing to do it. And I've always known at the end of the day that I wanted to do something to improve my community. So with the help of Natalie, I've really felt like I've been able to take that feeling with me every single day this year. And I hope to bring that with me wherever I go next year. One of our main goals this year was to bring more attention to student government, especially at College of Alameda. So that's why we will be continuing to host our Demystifying Student Government every Wednesday from 10 to 11, and then again from 11 to 12. We hope to see people there. Thank you for listening and have a great rest of your evening. Hi.
Thank you, Lauren. Sasha, do we have anybody else? Any more student leaders?
No more student leaders.
Thank you, Liam. Thank you, Lauren. And thank you for all that you both do. Do 2.9 classified Senate report.
We have Terrence Fisher.
Great, thanks. Hi, Terrence.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, great. Good evening, President Reese, members of the Board of Trustees, Chancellor Jackson, welcome, presidents and guests. Tonight we have two classified Senate campus reports. The first report comes from the Laney College Classified Senate. Alejandro Acosta stepped down as the Laney College Classified Senate president. Mrs. Hope Lane will assume the role as president. Alejandro will stay on as a senator and continue his efforts as steward for our Peralta chapter of SEIU 10-1 as contract negotiations near. The Classified Senate is looking to collaborate and meet with the Institutional Effectiveness Committee, the IEC, to streamline processes for classified prioritization and make it more equitable. The system is broken, there are problems with resource allocation, and not enough time given. The Laney College Classified Senate is looking for ways to honor the late admissions and records specialist, Renee Rivas. This discussion is still in its early stages. Among the ideas are a classified Senate scholarship where they will be establishing funding and the amount, and also figuring out the criteria. And B, another idea is renaming the 6th floor classified lounge in the Laney Tower. The Laney College Task Force returned to campus meeting on Friday, April 23rd, featured both A1 and Marina security firms giving brief presentations on their background, services, and training, and took questions from task force members. There are still reservations about safety and security. April 26th through the 30th is Black Student Success Week. a series of webinars aimed at improving Black and African American student success. Please check out the Laney College's social media to see the spotlights this week. The second report comes from the Berkeley City College Classified Senate. In support of diversity, equity, anti-racism, and overall inclusion, the BCC Classified Senate will have a safe space time set aside for classified staff after their bi-monthly Senate meetings to discuss any topic they want. During the past year, it has been difficult for us to be together for support. We have lost coworkers and friends. We've also lost family members, and we have experienced hate against our colleagues and believe an open session will help us express our ways in a positive way. Berkeley City College had an excellent presentation on the PeopleSoft 9.2 upgrade and would like to thank our District Information Technology Department on a terrific job. It was clear and thorough with what we should expect with the new upgrade. And finally, the Berkeley City College Classified Senate would like to publicly thank our president, Dr. Angelica Garcia, for including classified staff in upcoming plans and projects. Most importantly, the return to work plan. Her support of classified staff is exceptional. Moving on Wednesday, April 14th, the District Academic Center Classified Senate met to confirm its leadership team and voted to ratify its constitution and bylaws. The president is Brandy Howard. The first vice president and parliamentarian is Felicia Bridges. The second vice president and secretary is Jamil Tier. The treasurer is Michael Goldberg. Plus, there's additional senators at large and non-voting SEIU 10-1 and IUOE Local 39 liaisons. I now wish to turn the board's attention to the PeopleSoft Phase 2 project and its starting test date of May 3rd. And some thoughts expressed by my classified colleagues after the Peralta Classified Senate was given a presentation by Antoine Merritt on April 6th. Classified involvement will be important to the successful outcome of the Phase 2 project. The user experience will be critically needed, particularly from the colleges. Classifieds will be asked to participate in testing workflow processes, including setting up diagrams, which will help with their understanding. In the past, where there was similar testing, classifieds were expected to do both this and their jobs. Classified professionals need to be compensated for doing this important work. Overtime funding should be made available so that a budget stream can be provided to managers. Eliminate duplication of activities. Streamlining the workflow means prioritizing input from the classified staff who actually do the work and manage the process. They should have more equity in the decision-making for reviewing and agreeing to updates and streamline of the workflow. There should be opportunities for classified staff to get training, certification, and direct experience as they serve as subject matter expertise to the Phase 2 project. This will create job opportunities for classifieds. Programmers and business systems analysts will be needed as we expand and build stronger IT systems. As such, current classified staff should be provided training and certification for these future jobs. Job aids for Phase 2 should be required after the update and available at all times for future onboarding and review. In contrast, Phase 1 job aids were available but then removed. We will need to archive resource materials such as videos, manuals, and even have a point person to contact. A colleague remembered being part of the passport rollout and testing to prepare students. She went on to explain that what proved to be successful was having a point person for each campus that set up a series of trainings for staff and students. Much like everything else, the PeopleSoft Phase 2 project will be a matter of practice and getting used to a new way of doing things, along with the resources to help us along the way. That is the end of the campus reports. Thank you very much for your support of the Peralta Classified Senate.
Thank you, Terrence, for both the Laney and BCC reports and the technology feedback. Let's move on to 2.10, District Academic Senate Report.
We have Laney Gastis in for Donald Moore.
Greetings, President Reese, trustees, and the Peralta community. We warmly welcome back, not just welcome back Interim Chancellor Jeanette Jackson for her first official Board of Trustees meeting. Welcome, Chancellor Jackson. I am Laney Gastis, the Laney College Academic Senate President, and I will be giving the DAS report this evening on behalf of President Donald Moore. I'd like to wish Donald a very happy birthday today. The faculty are so thankful to Donald for his leadership at Peralta, which he offers with his whole heart. We wish him continued health and happiness. Here are some highlights from the District Academic Senate and the faculty at the 4 colleges. ASCCC's statewide plenary was held from April 15th to the 17th online, and the theme was working collectively, transforming and decolonizing institutions. The theme reverberates nationwide as faculty and all educators must do their part in supporting our students and each other, dismantling systems of oppression. Resolutions highlighted commitments to diversity, ethnic studies, open educational resources, a request to extend guided pathways for 1 year, and much more. This past week, DAS approved language for a diversity, equity, and inclusion statement that was adapted from the ASCCC one. This statement is especially important as the district will be hiring 28 faculty this summer who will join our Peralta community. The statement reads, in part, that the DAS will develop and implement policies and procedures, encourage individual and systemic change, continually reflect on our efforts, and hold ourselves accountable for the results of our efforts in accomplishing our goals. In service of these goals, the DAS is committed to fostering an environment that offers equal opportunity for all. In other news, the Peralta Online Equity Conference was held April 21st to 23rd with a goal of increasing the visibility of all efforts to increase learning equity in higher education and bringing together institutions that want to share and adopt equitable practices for all online students globally. With over 700 attendees, the hard work of all, including faculty, who coordinated this effort should be celebrated. On another note related to technology, the District Academic Senate remains concerned about students' ability to navigate and enroll in classes online using the new PeopleSoft upgrade at a time when students are readying their schedules for summer and fall. I received a report today that problems with Passport are impacting students' ability to enroll, including classes not appearing and students not being able to select a college. We are told that this is a district-wide issue. And although we hear and we know that District IT is working on the issue, one student lost is one too many. We appreciate the efforts of IT to solve this problem or any others that arise expediently and efficiently. We also value communication from the district around these issues so that we can help our students who ask us questions. We also hope that the District Enrollment Management Committee recommended during the February 23rd study session on enrollment by district consultant Dr. Lijuan Jai will be formed soon, and that highlighting shared governance, the great ideas that bloom when faculty, classified professionals, administrators, and students put their heads together will be the driving force behind this committee. Enrollment management is our collective responsibility. Lastly, I will note that the College Senate presidents had a very positive meeting yesterday with State Chancellor Eloy Ortiz Oakley himself and discussed his concerns about our district, our narrative from the ground as faculty, and how through our commitment to shared governance, accountability, and most of all, transparency, we are working to move Peralta forward. Thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you, Lenny, for that. 2.11, public communication. Vice President Gonzalez-Yuen, let me hand this over to you.
Thank you. We have, I think about 5 people, maybe 4, I can't quite tell, for public comment, and I'll read names and we'll just move through the process. We'll start with Jennifer Shinosky and then go to Natalie Rodriguez, Bill Krill, and Robert Farrow. I believe Liam Zhu and Lauren Wallace already spoke, but if you, Liam and Lauren, if you were planning to also speak during public comment, just let me know. So those are the names we have. Why don't we start with Jennifer Shinosky?
She is not on the call.
Okay, then why don't we go to Natalie Rodriguez?
She's been moved to panelist.
Good evening, all. I apologize for the confusion. I'm actually registered as a backup in case of technical difficulties for Lauren Wallace. So thank you for your time, but I do not have public comment. Thank you all.
Thank you. Then let's go to Bill Krill.
He is not on the call.
Okay, our last public comment was Robert Farrow.
I just moved him over to panelist.
Thank you.
I moved him over, but I don't know if he. Mr. Farrow, are you there? He's on the call, but I don't know if he wants to speak.
In the absence of his active presence, why don't we move along? And Mr. Farrow, if you want to speak, why don't you message me? I think you're in the room and you can just comment on chat. If you're having technical difficulties, just let me know and we'll figure it out and we can come back. We don't have any other public comment at the moment. So it may be people are having technical difficulties. You can never tell. If they do come in, I will apprise the board president. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Vice President Gonzalez-Yuan. Let's move then to 2.12, Chancellor's reports. Dr. Jackson, Chancellor Jackson.
All right, thank you, Board President. Welcome to those of you that have logged in. Before I turn it over to the presidents for their report, I want to start out with some good news. The district has received a check in the amount of $271,300 from our insurance provider, ACIP. These funds are a result of effective claims management by our risk coordinator, Ms. Carrie Burdick. With Royal Roberts transitioning from employee relations and later to the chief of staff role, Carrie Burdick has taken on that challenge and stepped up to the plate. I want to take this opportunity to publicly recognize the risk coordinator, Carrie, who has consistently, according to Royal, made workplace safety a priority by providing training and monitoring in order to mitigate the risk to the district. So, Carrie, thank you very much for your efforts. They do not go unrecognized. And because I like a little bit of variety, I'm going to start with Merritt College's report first of the presidents, and then followed by Laney College, College of Alameda, and then Berkeley City College. So I will turn it over to President Johnson.
Thank you, Chancellor. So good evening, Madam President, trustees, and Peralta community. I'm going to use my time tonight to commend two Merritt College.
You're on mute.
You're on mute, Dr. Johnson.
See, this is what happened when you let me go first. No, I don't know how much of that you heard. I said I wanted to start my remarks tonight by congratulating, in all seriousness, two Merritt College students, Brianna Wing and Freddie Ika. I don't know if all of you have the opportunity to tune in today, but they co-hosted a Merritt College town hall event titled A Call to Action Against Asian American and Pacific Islander Hate. And the purpose of this forum was to discuss the ongoing racism and violence has been directed at those communities and what we can do as individuals and communities to stem the tide of hate. We had three amazing panelists, Dr. Russell Jung, who is the co-founder of the Stop AAPI Hate Movement. He's also a professor of Asian American Studies at San Francisco State. We had Larry Oso, who is a former mental health counselor at Merritt, but currently works as a psychotherapist. And we had, from my alma mater, Dr. Michael Omi, who is a professor of ethnic studies at UC Berkeley. So it was a tremendous event. And I just want to say that we were humbled by the opportunity to support our students. We are in, if you have a chance to see the presentation, we are in really good hands. They did a phenomenal job of moderating and keeping the conversation going. And just for the record, they were really able to end on a high note with us conveying our solidarity with every community committed to combating acts of discrimination, the persistence of institutional racism, and cases of racial violence at every turn. We had about 90 students on the call, and I understand that our dear Mark Johnson is going to have the video on Peralta TV, YouTube very soon. So look forward to that. I encourage you to watch it, and also be on the lookout for the creation out of this webinar today. We have the creation at Merritt College of the AAPI Club, the Asian American Pacific Islander Club at Merritt College. So we're very excited that the students are taking the initiative and really going to keep this momentum going to have a substantive movement to support that community. So thank you.
David, I'm sorry, Dr. Johnson, were you going to mention the wins of your cybersecurity, your national wins of your cybersecurity program?
I can do that. Thank you, Trustee Handy. I didn't know how much time I had, but I was trying to be under the wire. But yes, every year, this has become common practice for us, because every year our cybersecurity team shows up and shows out. So out of 10,000 students from colleges and universities across the country, our team, our cybersecurity team, they came in, they were motivated, they dedicated their play to the late Miss Anita Black. And out of 922 teams, we were in the top 31, or the top 3.4%. And I just really want to take a moment to thank and acknowledge the leaders and instructors of that program really quickly: Mark Egan, Jim Cates, Beverly Brooks, Art Scott, Diego Kennedy, Sandy Kay, Mary Nakahara, and Courtney Brown. So thank you, Trustee Handy. That's just what we do at Merritt with the cybersecurity. So I appreciate the opportunity to show off a little bit, and we'll be back in the winner's circle next year. So thank you.
Yes, good evening, Chancellor, members of the Board of Trustees, and colleagues in education. It is, as always, a pleasure to speak to everyone this evening. You'll see in my background, and it's been mentioned, that this week is Black Student Success Week. I look forward to actually coming back to you at the next meeting to provide some stories of student success at Laney College that hit very close to home. So I guess you'll all have to show up next time for the meeting. So look forward to sharing that with everyone. I'm hopefully going to start a little bit of a streak here. At my last report, I mentioned some great partners that Laney College has, and I'm going to go ahead and continue that and recognize the Lend a Hand Foundation and appreciate them for the $6,500 in scholarships that they have donated to students in our Extended Opportunities Programs and Services, or EOPS programs. You will see actually a very neat leaflet within your board report this evening. There's actually a link to it. And you're going to get to read stories about these students who will be recipients, and the fact that they'll be pursuing fields such as accounting, business, biology, Spanish, social sciences, and a number of other majors. Really, Laney appreciates its partners, and I just wanted to give a shout out to Lend a Hand this evening. Also, at the last board meeting, I mentioned the area of interest jams that were put together by our Guided Pathways leadership as well as our area of interest coordinators that continue to build on the success and momentum we have with our area of interest maps that have been helping students do backwards planning, if you will, as they decide their educational pathways. Well, I'm so pleased to report that the work continues. Those sessions were podcasted, and certainly the outreach continues with that. But what I'd like to highlight this evening is that as of last week, via our social media campaign, the areas of interest efforts on our website grew to 41,000 looks at or views of our website, and certainly an engagement of our guided pathways continues. And I just want to say thank you to the faculty, the classified professionals, and the administrators who really come together on guided pathways to make it a success story at Laney College. Speaking of success stories, I'll close my report tonight with an update on our food distribution efforts. Through the continuing collaboration with the World Central Kitchen, so far we've had 124 food distribution dates, 55,705 meals distributed, and over 13,200 produce boxes. But what's new and what's different about that is that we are actually, in addition to doing the food distribution, we're doing direct outreach to our labs that are meeting on campus. And we've been doing that since early March. And with that effort, we've distributed 1,606 meals to students in their lab classes, as well as 84 boxes of produce to students in subject areas such as athletics, carpentry, machine technology, wood technology, culinary arts, and our fab lab. As we go through May, thanks to our collaboration with the World Central Kitchen, we're anticipating 700 meals per week with them, as well as through our in-house efforts, an additional 400 meals per week to be distributed. And also, ongoing thanks needs to go to the Alameda County Food Bank, who continues to donate produce boxes for us to distribute to our students in need. So with those stories of success, I'll close my report for this evening. Thank you very much.
Good evening, President Reese, trustees, Chancellor Jackson, colleagues, and guests. I'm very happy to share with you this evening a few highlights of the amazing work our students, faculty, and staff are doing. I continue to be inspired by the resilience, dedication, and compassion of the College of Alameda community. Please join me in congratulating Professor and author Wanda Sabir for having her provocative and heart-stirring poem entitled Night Rain for Brianna published in the San Francisco Bay View National Black newspaper. Well done, Professor Sabir. College of Alameda staff and administrators, in collaboration with the Alameda Unified School District team, worked to reopen the Alameda Science and Technology Institute to face-to-face instruction last week. The team worked diligently to ensure that we would have a safe and learning and work environment for students to return to face-to-face instruction. Our close collaboration is a testament to the strength and quality of the COA and AUSD partnership. Further, College of Alameda has provided $3,800 in emergency food grants thus far this year in the form of $100 Safeway gift cards to aid students and their families challenged with food insecurity. Students in College of Alameda's art classes are producing meaningful art inspired by the pandemic that reflect their resilience, creativity, and indelible human spirit. Lastly, I, along with leaders at the college, the district, and across the state, have participated in the Black Student Success Week activities, which have included presentation from scholars, legislators, thought leaders, and activists, as well as panel discussions with students and advocacy efforts. Now is the time to be bold, persistent, and courageous in dismantling barriers to Black and Brown student success. Get involved and make it happen. Thank you. This concludes my report this evening.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of the Board of Trustees, Dr. Jackson, colleagues, and community members. For my report this evening on behalf of Berkeley City College, I want to highlight a few programs, activities that support student success and engagement. During College Roundtable this past week, we had a full agenda of college governance work, including the overview of the district strategic plan, our health, safety, and facilities committees, and their joint work to contribute on our BCC return to campus plan, faculty-driven effort to include multimedia faculty and their area of expertise to help us increase our social media presence throughout the community. And I also want to note, highlight the work of the Academic Senate, which recently passed a resolution on equity, diversity, and racial justice. The commitment of faculty to remain steadfast in addressing structural barriers for student success, equity, and completion should be commended. Also want to take a moment to highlight the transfer admission process. Notifications are coming out regarding the UC system, with increasing numbers of BCC students earning placements this fall at UC Berkeley, Davis, Santa Barbara, and Los Angeles. I want to take a moment of personal privilege here to recognize our ASBCC president, Liam Zhu, as he will be joining the new Cal Bears. He will become a Bear this fall, so he's not going to go too far up from Center Street. And he has promised that he will meet me for lunch when we are post-COVID, so I'm going to hold him to that. And he is but one of the many Berkeley City College students who have achieved this point in their transfer pathway because of the collective work of classified professionals, faculty, administrators, community members, and board members here. We're just really proud of our students. On the front end, as opposed to the graduation and completion, we've engaged over 400 Richmond Promise seniors from West Contra Costa Unified, really focusing on a seamless transition to access the curriculum, academic, and career programs at Berkeley City College and throughout the Peralta Community College District. And also in supporting first-year students transitioning in, our Society of Scholars team has facilitated over 30 group enrollment sessions this semester, again, focusing on removing the barriers that students face when trying to enroll into our colleges. As high school students are preparing for graduation, Berkeley High School recognizes graduating Black seniors and Latinx seniors. And we were invited by Dr. Dawn Williams, a Berkeley High instructor, put out a call out to local businesses to fill up graduation bags for students. And so Berkeley City College was pleased to share materials for that in celebration of Black and Brown students graduating from high school, and of course, shamelessly and unapologetically inviting them to come into our district to continue their education. We'll have an opportunity coming up with Cinco de Mayo. I was happy to hear the student earlier who said that it's not Independence Day, so I was really grateful to hear that. But I will be on a panel with City of Berkeley Mayor Jesse Arreguin for the Latina community, the impact of COVID and the responsibility of leaders to continue to promote education and workforce development for the City of Berkeley. And lastly, I want to close, as my colleague, President Besikoff shared, and President Jones, this week is Black Student Success Week throughout the California Community College system, which started yesterday, really focusing on Black brilliance, excellence, success, completion. It's just been phenomenal, and it's only 2 days in. However, sadly for Berkeley City College, we began our week with news on the passing of a student. At Berkeley City College, we believe that we transform lives. It's devastating when one of those lives is tragically lost. So this past weekend, we learned that BCC student Demetrius Roosevelt Fleming Davis was struck and killed by a stray gunshot in West Oakland on April 10th. He was 18 years old. He would have been 19 last Thursday. I cannot believe I'm getting emotional, but maybe so. I'm heartbroken by this tragedy. Another senseless killing in our community and our African-American communities, and our deepest condolences go out to his family, his friends, and the community. And with that, I will conclude our report for Berkeley City College.
Thank you very much, Presidents. I appreciate your reports. I do have a few comments before I finish with the Chancellor's briefing. I'd like to thank the board, first of all, for putting me in this position for me to give back to a community that I've served for almost 10 years. My first 12 days have been extraordinarily busy. I've always believed in providing a vision, and when I spoke to the administrative units within the district on each of the campuses, I had that opportunity. I provided an overarching goal because I feel that we always need to have something that we can strive to move towards. The theme I'd like to proffer during my time here is back to the future. Not very original, but really speaks to what I'm trying to do. And back to the future, back to basics. I believe this district has great faculty, classified professionals, administrator, and of course, our extraordinary and amazing students. We have been the standard bearers in this region in the past. And we must go back, I feel, to those roots to reaffirm our commitment to our students and to our community. Those actions will then guide us as we move into the future. So I want to end my report with expressing my condolences to the Berkeley City College faculty, staff, and to the family of Berkeley City College student Demetrius Roosevelt Fleming Davis, who was struck and killed by a stray bullet. And I would ask that we as a board have a moment of silence at the end of the meeting in respect and acknowledgement of the loss of one of our students, a time too soon. Thank you, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson, Chancellor Jackson, and thank you, Presidents. And Dr. Garcia, I will give you the meeting at the end so that we could close in honor of Demetrius. That would be great. Thank you. Thank you. We don't have any informational items. However, we are going to go right into consent. So could I have a motion for our consent, please?
Move approval of the consent calendar.
Thank you, Trustee Gonzalez-Yuen. Second?
Seconds.
Thank you, Trustee Jenkins. Discussion and roll call, please.
Student Trustee Urani? Absent. Trustee Withrow?
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins?
Yes.
Trustee Handy?
Yes.
Trustee Delphine Polk?
Yes.
Trustee Bonilla?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez-Yuen?
Yes.
Trustee Napolia Bellaris?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Let's move to our action items. 9.1, consider second reading and approval of proposed board policies. Motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Trustee Bonilla. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Withrow. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Withrow?
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins?
Yes.
Trustee Handy?
Yes.
Trustee Delphine Polk?
Yes.
Trustee Bonilla?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez-Yuen?
Yes.
Trustee Napolia Bellaris?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. 9.2, consider approval of resolution number 20/2125, supporting award of the design build agreement with XL Construction Corporation for the design and construction services for the Berkeley City College 2118 Milvia Street expansion project. Can I have
Before we turn this over to Director of Planning and Development, Etheria Smith, I just want to point out that, again, this goes back to the theme of back to the future. In the past, we have provided an overview of projects before we bring them to the board or at the board meeting. In this case, I've asked Etheria to provide an overview to the board on where we are on the project before asking for approval of staff's recommendation for this contract. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Ms. Smith, Etheria. I know I saw you here. There you are. I believe you're muted.
The mic is off.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, let's start again. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Board of Trustees, and welcome back, Dr. Jackson. Great to see you. In 2014-15, we purchased 2118 Milvia Street. So this is not an overnight project. There's been a lot of work that's gone into this, and DGS has worked very closely with stakeholders in Nolan Tam since the beginning to develop the program document, which brings us to tonight. And Chancellor Jackson, Dr. Jackson, took a line that I was going to say, welcome back to the future, because past practices, we brought the entire team to give you a report on what the process was, who's going to be involved in the project, and take your questions. So tonight we have Bob Parks representing the CM team. We have the architects and the design build team here. And also we're going to have the president speak on the stakeholder participation that we've gone through for this whole process. So you can have a whole overview of how we got to this point since 2015 to tonight. So I'd like to turn it over to Bob Parks to begin his presentation.
Good evening. Thank you, AVC Smith. I'm going to bring up the slides that are part of the board agenda package. Give me 1 second here. Hopefully everybody can see this.
Yes.
So tonight we would like to give you a brief overview of the 2118 Milvia Street new building project. So this gives you an overview of the history of the project. As AVC Smith indicated, the college or the district purchased this property back in 2015. Initially, the project went through a planning phase for a renovation between 2015 and 2018. When the bond passed in 2018, the district began a kind of what they call a transition analysis that you can see that started in Q4 2018. During that analysis, we worked with Nolan Tam Architects to develop a program for both the Milvia Street project and a future renovation project at Center Street. And I feel free, President Garcia, to chime in at all, but during that process, Nolan Tam met with building user groups and stakeholders and administration between Q4 of 18 and Q2 of 2019 to put all the program together for the new project. Back in July of last year, Keith Kajia with AECOM presented a design build workshop to the Board of Trustees, which this project was one of the 6 major projects as part of that workshop. From there, we went through a detailed request for qualifications and RFP phase and went through rounds of outreach meetings with the community in September of last year. We then went through a pre-qualification process where we received 6 design build submissions from design build teams, and we shortlisted down to 3 of the best qualified teams for this particular project. While we were working with President Garcia and the college. In the months of December, January, and February, we went through 3 rounds of interviews, which with each of the 3 design build teams that were shortlisted, and ultimately culminating where we are this evening with the recommendation for the Excel and Ratcliffe team. Upon award of the contract, we will begin what we call the programming phase and the schematic design of the project. This slide, Keith Kajia presented at the last board meeting a couple weeks ago, and this gives you an overview of the project. This is the total project cost estimate here, the $83.4 million. Right now, we're right in the beginning of the Q2 phase here, where we will begin the design of the project, the schematic design. We'll begin construction in Q1 of 2023 after we go through design and then approval by the Division of the State Architect, DSA. And then over here on the right-hand side gives you all of the procurements that we are working on for this project. Right now, once the design build team is on board, they will be working on the geotechnical investigations, the hazardous material investigations, the soils, the surveying, and the construction. So after tonight's approval, we'll have awarded all the line items that say DBE next to them. So this will be a huge milestone for the project. Go to the next slide. This slide gives you an overview of the total project cost estimate that I showed on the previous slide. So the overall budget is $83.9 million for this project. Within the $83.9 million, about $65.4 million is for the design and construction of the building. This will be the total contract value for the Excel and Ratcliffe team. On top of the design build budget, we have about 3% additional district controlled contingency for design contingency, 6% for construction contingency during construction of the building, and an additional 5% overall project contingency. So these contingencies are on top of what we've allocated for the design and construction of the building. And then this 8% represents district soft costs. So that's comprised of CEQA, environmental clearance reports, Division of the State Architect permit fees, testing, inspection, all those outside costs outside of the design build budget. This slide real briefly gives you a breakdown of what is in the Excel and Ratcliffe total contract price. So this represents the $65.4 million. Within that, about 79% of it represents the hard construction costs of the building, the bricks and mortar. 9% represents the design and pre-construction fees to design the building. 10% represents the staffing that will be needed during construction of the facility, and an additional 2% for the furniture and equipment that'll be installed at the end of construction. This slide gives you a brief snapshot of the schedule moving forward. Right now, we're right here kind of at the tail end of the procurement, getting ready to award the contract. We'll be getting the programming and schematic design phases in earnest as soon as the contract is awarded. We'll be going through the design phase into Q2 of next year, where we'll then submit the documents to the Division of State Architect for review and permitting. We anticipate getting out of DSA approval by early Q1 of 2023 and beginning construction, which will occur. What we're planning on doing is starting demolition right at the tail end of DSA approval. So preparing the site for the new building in late Q4 2022, and then completion of the project in Q4 of 2024. All of this is in alignment with the bond spending plan that Keith Kajia has been presenting over the last several meetings. I don't know, Etheria, if you have anything you'd like to add, or President Garcia?
No, please continue, Bob. Thank
you. Oh, you're doing great, Bob. Thanks.
Okay. Now what I'd like to do is introduce Jeff Swinier with Excel Construction and Patricia Alarcorn with Radcliffe Architects. They're our design build team that will be leading the charge to design and construct the project.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jeff Swinier, a project executive for Excel Construction, and I'm here with
Patricia Alarcón with Radcliffe.
We're really excited for this opportunity and committed to working with Associate Vice Chancellor Smith, President Garcia, and their teams to deliver Berkeley's new expansion project. Excel Construction and Radcliffe partnered with each other with three primary themes to our approach. First was our local approach. Excel and Radcliffe are both part of Peralta's community with local offices in Oakland and Emeryville. And while assembling our wider design team, we specifically targeted small and local firms. So over 85% of our design consultants are located within your district. We're also committed to representing the community and community's diversity in our team's makeup. We look to meet or exceed your Peralta's small local business enterprise goal and keep as many of those bond dollars in our local community as we can. Andrea Lowe with the Lowe Consulting Group, a Peralta celeb, is going to be leading our community outreach efforts. We're going to start this outreach early in our design phase, working with interested parties such as Ed Dillard to add subcontractors to Excel's current database of over 370 underutilized business enterprises. Our second theme is our relevant project experience. Together, Radcliffe and Excel have a deep bench of successful community college academic buildings in California, in addition to our local Berkeley experience. Excel is currently in design on CCSS, new student success building.
Is that my cue, Jeff?
That is your cue.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And Radcliffe's academic portfolio also includes a lot of community college work, including the original BCC Center Street building, and more recent work with Foothill De Anza Community College District, Los Medanos Community College District, etc. Our goal is to provide environments that enrich the student experience and support student success. So as Jeff said, our team is local, experienced, and the last theme that we brought to our interviews with the college was that we're an inclusive team. We value diversity of thought and importance of engaging broadly and listening deeply. Together with President Garcia and her team, with support from Bob and his team, we will develop an engaging design process with focus on equity and inclusion. We believe really, truly, and strongly that this enriches not only the process, but also the outcome. Next slide, please, Bob. So based on the criteria documents prepared by Nolan Tam and on our initial pre-award meetings, we heard very clearly that the new building should be connected to the Center Street campus, it should be welcoming, and it should provide a sense of belonging. With this in mind, we aim to develop a unified urban campus by creating a strong visual connection from Center Street building to the Milvia Street building. You can see that in this photograph. We created a strong visual connection from one entry to the next, and we can also strengthen this connection through additional features like signage and common architectural features such as common columns and building projections. This is all very schematic, very kind of preliminary concept, but that was the idea, to create a unified urban campus that held together from Center Street to that corner at Center and Milvia. Next slide. To achieve a sense of welcoming and belonging, we proposed a recessed entry corner at the corner. So again, very visible from the Center Street, with high levels of transparency to reveal the activity within. the thought is that if a student can see what's happening inside, it's easier to imagine yourself there, and it's easier to get that sense of belonging that we understood was very important. So those are kind of the three main topics that we took away and that we used as we evolved this very early conceptual design. And we're really excited to get into the engagement process to really kind of put our hands together and begin really what we think is just such an exciting project for the college, for the district, and really for the city of Berkeley, given its location at the heart of downtown. So thank you very much for having us and for giving us the opportunity. We're really looking forward to working with you.
Really excited to get the design kicked off. With that, we'll hand it back to Associate Vice Chancellor Smith. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Dr. Garcia, President Garcia, if you can also add with your experience about your experience in the project and some feedback from the stakeholders.
Yes, thank you. One of the things as I came in on board last May was pretty early on, I would say within my second week, I was in meetings related to Milvia Street. And one of the key components that I really appreciated was seeing the way that the college had engaged in broad discussions. Even the fact that the entrance to the building is at the corner now came from community feedback to really see themselves stepping out of Center Street and then being able to see the entrance over to Milvia Street. The building user groups, shorthand that we call bugs, were expansive, included broad representation. And as anyone who's gone through a new building, you're trying to figure out what goes where. It takes a community participation to know which programs move, which programs stay. And another component was the space utilization study. I learned very quickly that BCC was completely maxed out of space, that especially within the science program, the labs were being utilized to their fullest tilt. And so in this expansion, we'll be able to address renovation needs on Center Street to better utilize the spaces that we have. And then lastly, if you have been to BCC, you've seen that on the 5th floor, our faculty offices, they are just packed deep in there. And so wanting to really open up that space so we don't have as many bodies in one office trying to hold office hours. And then lastly, the piece that I would really like to share is that with our capital improvement program meetings, we have been meeting every 2 weeks, the BCC Executive Cabinet, with key engineering staff, facility staff, and the Department of General Services to walk through this process, keep things on task, and committing to the efficient and effective use of public dollars, bond dollars for this building. We're just very excited. And in our college roundtable this past Monday or yesterday, this topic came up and the community is just really excited. So we're happy to answer any question that the trustees might have. And I'm grateful to my colleagues for a wonderful presentation for Milvia Street. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Trustees, do we have any questions for any of our guests through the Chancellor? Trustee Jenkins?
Thank you for that amazing presentation. I'm really excited about Milvia Street, the projects for our students. Question, so within this design build, what is the SLEB participation amount?
The district has a commitment of 25% to meet the 25% goal. So that is our commitment for all of our capital projects for small local businesses.
Okay, and do we have a subcontractor list, and how are we as a district going to ensure that at least 25% is going to SLEB businesses?
To ensure that it will be up to our program managers and construction manager to review and make sure that the design build team adheres to our commitment to small local businesses, not to only meet the 25%, but to hopefully exceed it. So we're looking forward to moving forward with them and working with them in the effort of also having smaller outreach meetings to see what other groups can be extended. This project is just getting started, so we're looking forward to seeing what this group is going to do with the community.
Thank you.
Trustee Bonilla, and then Trustee Delphine Polk afterwards.
Hi, yes, thank you. So again, thank you for the presentation. I thought it was very clear. I do have just a couple of references to, I think the overall project cost on the slide, I don't know if they're numbered, but the $83.9 million budget that was presented, and the breakdown, all of this seems very, very clear to me. But when I look at the attachments and I look at what we are approving or being asked to approve, I'm seeing a not to exceed $65.4 million. So I just want to understand the cost difference in terms of what's being presented to us.
Okay, I think, you know what, I'm going to turn that over to Bob Parks so he can go over, design bid build versus design build, and also how it's more beneficial in cost savings when we are able to do a design build project and hold to a not to exceed budget. Bob?
Thank you.
Thank you, AVC Smith. Yeah, I think to start off briefly is the $65.4 million budget is the portion that is assigned to the design and construction, the hard costs, the bricks and mortar. The delta between that and the 83.9 is under district control. So for example, if there was something on the project that came up that we needed to use design contingency during the design phase or construction contingency during the construction phase, like an unforeseen condition, something with the soils or a geotechnical type issue, we would come back to the board for approval before using those contingencies that are within the 83.9 total project cost. Also within that total project cost are district soft costs. So like test and inspection, CEQA, those sorts of things that we will be coming back individually for contract approvals, to hire the inspector of record and like testing companies and kind of all the little bits and pieces that are outside of the Excel and Ratcliffe contract amount.
And that's really helpful. If I can ask a follow-up to that. When
Sure.
those come back to us, are those considered change orders, amendments, and or amendments to the contract?
So anything that would be a separate contract with like an inspection firm or the environmental CEQA report, those sort of things are separate contracts with separate firms. If we were to be using any of the contingencies for like an unforeseen condition or a design change, those would be change orders above the $65.4 million budget. And to expand a little bit on what AVC Smith was talking about with design build, the actual initial contract with the Excel and Ratcliffe team is for their design fees and for their general conditions staffing. So they will begin the design within those initial, I think it's $12.1 million design and general condition fees. And we will come back with an amendment for their final guaranteed maximum price that would be within the $65.4 million not to exceed budget. And it wouldn't be a change order at that point. The only time we would come back with a change order is if something were to push us over the $65.4 million number.
Thank you for that. That was very helpful.
Okay. Let's move to Deanna, Trustee Delphine Polk,
Yes, thank you so much to everybody who presented. This was very clear. I'm really excited, especially being one of two Berkeley Peralta Colleges trustees. I'm really excited to see this project right here in our backyard in Berkeley. So I have a couple of questions regarding the community engagement piece that I believe Dr. Garcia, you talked about. Can you describe the community feedback process, who was consulted, and to what degree students were part of this process?
Sure, I can answer that question. So in the early part of 2018-19 is when the community engagement process started in earnest. And what that looked like was the leadership team of that time under Dr. Rowena Tomaning and the executive cabinet holding campus-wide forums, individual meetings with departments, taking a look at space utilization studies. Student engagement, I will say, was via campus forums for an opportunity to provide input. That's really what informed a lot of what you'll see, or what you'll come to see, that it's a lot of student services programs that are moving into the Milvia Street, along with some classrooms, faculty offices. So that building in its design with the input from students is going to look very different from Center Street, because it's going to be much more of a student hub, right? Even the way that you can enter and access the building. I think that for once we remove from this evening, pending your approval, then we engage in the process of really connecting with building user groups. And now we start to look at square footage and layout plans and student input and faculty and classified professional input on the best use of spaces. And I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that we also now have to consider post-COVID-19, if anything about our original assumptions of the space need to be adapted or thought of differently, given just kind of the future of higher education and community colleges in general. And via our capital improvement program, so again, the every 2 weeks meeting, as this process rolls out, that one is where we will make sure that we stay on track, both on plan and cost. My goal is to support a process that does not have change orders, that does not cost the district, the taxpayers, any additional money, that it's responsive to what the community is asking for. And as we get into the project a little bit more, we'll have to engage with our City of Berkeley community members. And so that will be a component, because we're going to be right down the street from Berkeley High. We're across the street from the public hall, the community, every weekend, the farmers market is right down that street. So it is in that hub. And I imagine space where broad city, just community engagement to know what's coming up in the neighborhood.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's go to Trustee Gonzalez-Yuan, Trustee Handy, and then Trustee Jenkins.
Thank you very much. I think Trustee Polk asked one of my questions, which actually, and then Dr. Garcia, you just spoke to the last one. You know, Berkeley is kind of a feisty community. It's a threading the needle between engagement and notice, and then being taken over and overrun is an interesting challenge, I think, always. So I will look forward to seeing how you navigate that narrow path. I'm super excited about this project. It's, you know, we had the new building, fabulous, and immediately we knew we needed more space, and that's just the way it was. So this is really fabulous, and I'm grateful to our community for supporting it. I want to ask a very specific question about the LEED certification of the building. You may know that Berkeley City College was the first LEED certified building in downtown Berkeley. But that was eons ago. And even though the board policy calls for a minimum of LEED Silver certification, I'm wondering whether in the design specs for this building, we've managed to get to platinum.
Bob, would you like to answer? I know what I would answer as president, but I feel like I should defer to the experts on the actual construction element.
That's a great question. I think because we're such early in the design phase, just leaving basically the programming of the building and starting the design process, that is actually, that's actually on our agenda for our first kickoff meetings to talk about the sustainability requirements and the goals for the district and the college. So I may not have a specific answer right at this moment, but it is one of our top priorities as we enter into our first kickoff meeting with the design build team.
So you may recall from the Center Street building that parking and traffic was a big deal. The city came and gave us a lot of grief about bringing more cars in. And so, that Center Street building has a tiny little space for bicycles that actually is completely unnecessary now that there is vast bicycle parking right across the street. And so I'm just hoping that as we think about this new building, who's going to be there, that we also can really be thinking about the traffic flows and minimizing the traffic impacts and really maximizing our pedestrian interchange and so forth, so that we can obviate that challenge around the traffic right away and have a very satisfactory response when the city comes and starts giving us grief about traffic impacts. So just let's keep all that. I know that's getting into the weeds, but I'm also trying to just heads up, those of us who pay attention to Berkeley politics, that's going to be an issue. Let's make sure we don't fumble that one. Thank you. I'm so excited. And I've heard good things from the bugs about the engagement, and that always makes me happy. So thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Handy, and then Trustee Delphine Polk.
Hi. One of the things that really concerns me on this is based on it, when the item went on the agenda, immediately start receiving phone calls from the small local minority businesses asking about how they're going to have what the carve out is going to be. And we do have AECOM, I believe, in place for this, but what we don't have is a policy. We have a standard, but we don't have a policy. And the not having things specified allows the inequity to continue. Our rules and regulations are really a challenge. And unless we look at those and make sure that we're very clear and that it's specified, we're just talking and checking a box. But in the end, when it's all said and done, will our community be satisfied that they had an opportunity to participate? I think that now, looking forward and all the bond money that we have and everything that's coming forward, I think it's time for the board to adopt a policy. And I'd like to ask that we look into what it would take to have language drawn out so that what Peralta's standard is will actually be a policy that's enforceable, so that we will have the 25% and or even more. But if we continue to do things the way we've always done, then we will continue to get the results that we've always had, which is not being able, besides our best thoughts and our hearts and all being in the right place, we don't have the regulations in place to make that happen. And I think our community would be very, very happy to see that we're very serious, that it's not just words, that we put an action into place. And I don't think that's a hard thing for us to do. So that moving forward, by the time we get started on this building, they won't be in such a panic and concerned about, are we going to be able to get jobs? I mean, right now, Vice Chancellor Smith knows exactly what the carve out is. I see that you have it. You have your community outreach person as part of this, and this is all great, but it starts out great, and let's see what we can do to support that, so that when this is complete, all of us, all of the community, as well as our students and our faculty, will be very pleased with what we're doing. We want to be platinum LEED certified, but we also want to set the standards, as we've been doing with with our policing and all those things. Let's be the one that really put this on paper and make sure that we enforce and that there's equity in our community. Thanks.
Duly noted, Trustee Handy. I will look into that.
And I believe we have Trustee Jenkins, no questions? Okay. All right, now let us vote on this. I need a motion for 9.2. We never put forth a motion.
Move approval.
Move approval.
Who was, Trustee Handy, second?
Second.
Second, Trustee Gonzalez UN. Roll call, please.
Trustee Withrow.
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins.
Yes.
Trustee Handy.
Yes.
Trustee Delphine Polk.
Yes.
Trustee Bonilla.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez Ewan.
Yes.
Trustee Napolia Bellaris.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. 9.3. Do we want to do a presentation for 9.3? Chancellor?
I don't believe that we were going to do a presentation, but I did want to take a minute to thank ADC Smith as well as President Garcia and AECOM XL Construction and also Ratcliffe for coming with a little bit of short notice and pulling this together again, back to the future. So thank you very much.
Yes, agreed. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's go to 9.3. Motion, please, for 9.3. Consider approval of resolution number 20/2126, supporting the award of the design build contract for the Laney College Central Utility Plant Upgrade Project, that's a mouthful, to Gilbane Building Company in an amount not to exceed $12 million. So moved, Trustee Withrow, second.
Trustee Handy, yes.
Trustee Handy, discussion? All right. Roll call, please.
Trustee Withrow.
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins.
Yes.
Trustee Handy.
Yes.
Trustee Delphine Polk.
Yes.
Trustee Bonilla.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez Ewan.
Yes.
Trustee Napolia Bellaris.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. All right, folks, we are at 10.1, Board of Trustee reports. Trustee Handy?
Just to say that we continue to be out representing Merritt College, and just a shout out to the faculty members from Merritt College who are there. We have Kimmy and we have Mimi, and they have been there since before I was there. So it's a year, coming up on a year now, that our Tuesdays and Thursdays are committed to working with our partner, Okura, the David E. Glover Center, and food distributions. And it is such a wonderful thing. The last time I was there, even David came out and they put him right on the hustle. He has to run and hustle out meals out to the cars, and Doris Hankins as well. So I just want to say that it's really great to see that we're still able to continue to get food and support our community. The cars never stop. The need never stops. But it's a wonderful feeling to be out there. And Merritt College is always out there with our blue tablecloth front and centered. And we also have the opportunity to talk to parents and students about coming onto our colleges. So it's a win-win all the way around. And so it's great. Sometimes you guys come and join us, and maybe David will be there and you can see how fast he can run up that street with those meals to the cars.
I'm still sore.
You are. Let me tell you. So for me, we probably did about 900 meals and 200 boxes today. And by the time I get home and dropping off to the sick and shut-ins in my neighborhood, it's like a very hard board meeting on those Tuesdays, but it's still worthwhile because otherwise, the feelings of isolation, except when you don't have something. So I'm just grateful that we all have those opportunities to give back to our community and also get off our block. So thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Handy. Trustee Jenkins?
Thank you. I just want to take time to recognize and uplift Dr. Jackson. Thank you for coming to our district. Thank you for all the hard work that you've been putting in so far, working long hours. And I see the efforts that you're putting in, and I know it's going to make a difference for our students, our faculty, and for our classified. And also your first meeting, and it's looking like, if I don't jinx this, we're going to be out before 9 o'clock. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
That's right. Trustee Delphine Polk, please.
Well, I want to echo, thank you so much. I want to echo my colleagues in welcoming Dr. Jackson. I'm so excited to have you here at Peralta. I'm excited on what we're going to be able to do together in the coming months. So thank you so much. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Trustee Delphine Polk. Trustee Bonilla.
Yes, I also want to take a moment to welcome Dr. Jackson to Peralta. Thank you for your service, past, continued, and what are you using? Something for the future or towards the future?
Back to the future.
Back to the future. There you go. That's a good motto. So welcome.
Thank you.
And thank you. And I'll end my comments there.
Thank you, Trustee Bonilla. Trustee Withrow.
I'd just like to second my colleagues in welcoming Jeanette Jackson back to the fold here. She's jumped right in very quickly. We know we've got a difficult set of challenges ahead of us. And I feel very comfortable having her there to take a look at, analyze, review, and make recommendations to us. So thank you for coming aboard.
Thank you, Trustee Withrow. Trustee Gonzalez-Yuen.
Yes, again, I'll just echo comments. Dr. Jackson, thank you so much for your service. Let's cross fingers and pray for a smooth trip here, which is never a promised at Peralta, but let's just see what we can do here. I'll just mention that I've been able to attend a number of in-service trainings at Peralta on race. And most recently, there was a forum that I went to called Reflecting on Race and Restoring Relationships at Peralta. And it was part of the interactive virtual Sankofa Project Living Museum reflection. And they were able to translate that to a digital environment reasonably well. I'm sure that the in-person thing must be really powerful. And what's just really helpful is folks at Peralta coming and just sharing their own experiences at Peralta and what got them here and how those relate to race. And I think just opening that dialogue or continuing that dialogue is really helpful. I'm grateful to the people who have been putting energy into that. And I've seen Dr. Siri Brown's name as a host on all of these sessions. And so thank you very much from the Vice Chancellor's office. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Trustee Gonzalez-Yuen. And I started the meeting thanking you, Dr. Jackson, Chancellor Jackson, and I'm going to bookend the meeting doing the same thing. And I agree with you, Trustee Jenkins. I keep late hours. I'm up until 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm still receiving emails from Chancellor Jackson, who is 2 hours away, by the way. So you're up at 3 o'clock. Either you're an early riser or you just don't sleep. Either way, you look fantastic, and we do uplift you because you have really just kind of come on in, and you've really done great things in the short time that you've been here. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. Let me go to announcements first. Trustee Gonzalez-Yuen, anything for us in terms of announcements?
Yeah, we have just a handful of announcements, not a whole phone book. Let's see, enrollment now open at all 4 colleges for summer and fall term. And summer classes begin as soon as June 14th. So now's a good time to enroll. There's an upcoming district holiday on May 19th in observation of Malcolm X's birthday. And the next board meeting is on May 11th. And that's it.
Great, thank you. And before we adjourn, I just would like to give the meeting back to Dr. Garcia to close in honor of Demetrius Roosevelt Fleming Davis. Dr. Garcia?
Thank you so much. I'm grateful to the membership of this board for closing the meeting in honor of Demetrius Roosevelt Fleming Davis, killed on April 10th, 2021. We celebrate him, we uplift him and his family and his community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, folks, with that, let us adjourn. Have a wonderful evening. We are blessed, and be kind to one another. Have a great evening. Thank you all for tonight.
Be safe, everyone. Thank
Good
you.
night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night,
Thank you,
everyone.
presidents.
Good night. Thank you, Chancellor.
Good night, Chancellor.
Good night, Chancellor.